Okay. Good evening and welcome everyone on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube. It's family time. Family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which would lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. Friend us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. And on Instagram, keep up with us on what's happening simply by typing FLMJA. While Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution you that it may, on the odd occasion, touch on some very mature subject matters. So your discretion is advised. I am Kadian Campbell, and joining me shortly will be Tamika Scott Walters. Welcome, Tamika, right on time.
Oh
How are
boy,
you?
that's good to know. I am doing well, Katie, and how are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm just ready to talk food.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to today's discussion.
Likewise, likewise. So let's get to it. So it's dinner time. So let's say grace. God is good. God is great. Let us thank Him for our food. Amen. And then we're not just saying it because it's back to school. And I should have said, clasp your hands and close your eyes next time. But because it's the right thing to do to explore this 24/7 happy and healthy mealtime option for proper hydration, better sugar habits, powerful breakfast, and knowing how to manage food allergies and intolerance. So here's our next prayer. You can clasp your hands and close your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, God. I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, God, for food again. Today's all about healthy food and healthy families. We're calling it Nourishing Families Tips for Healthy and Happy Mealtimes.
Boy, Kaden, as you said that and talked about mealtime, I was thinking money, money, money. And we know money is ration, money can be scarce. Everything is expensive, cost of living is through the roof, including food. So sometimes we need to have a way to look at our eating habits, positive or negative ways, perhaps. We are going to try and make some changes today. So, to all our listeners, we want you to share with us your healthiest dish and why
Yes.
you say it's healthy. Not just talking favorite one now, but your healthiest dish and why you say it's healthy. We want you to send via WhatsApp text and voice note. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less. And you can send to 876-997-3125 or call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8 to participate. Remember, you can also watch and comment live on our social media channels. So that is live on Love 101's Facebook or our YouTube page. We will be right back with our very special guest for today, Rashid Perry. See you soon.
Now, let's discuss those verses that speak about faith and works. Verses that may have you a little bit confused. Verses like James 2 verse 17 that says, faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And Ephesians 2:8-9, for by grace have you been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no man may boast. What other verses need discussion? To find out, listen to The Rock, Tuesday, August 27, as guests Roland Gale and Reverend Christopher Broadber discuss the topic Faith and Works. That's The Rock, Tuesday, August 27 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back, everyone, to your favorite program. It is Family Time on Love 101. And a very special welcome to Mr. Rashid Perry, who is a seasoned, you realize the play on word there? We're talking about food.
Yes.
Mr. Rashid is seasoned public health nutritionist, food scientist, and PhD candidate in nutrition and dietetics at New York University. He is dedicated to improving household nutrition security. Sir Seasoned Perry, how are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I like the season part. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be a part of this meal that we're preparing today.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as we continue with this seasoning, because as Jamaicans, we love our flavor, right? So whether you are 9 or 90, eating healthy is an important key to life. It doesn't mean that you can have an occasional burger, a slice of pizza, or some Devanos ice cream, or that extra helping of your favorite meal, even though sometimes you have no idea what's in it. We like to say that we must do everything in moderation, but for this evening, we're going to focus on doing things in abundance, but in the right way. So, as we go through the program, share with us your healthiest dish and why you say it's healthy, not your favorite dish, but your healthiest dish. WhatsApp your text and voice notes. Make sure it's no more than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101, Facebook, and YouTube. Or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate.
Sounds good, Katie, and I am looking forward to what our listeners have to say. Sir Rashid, time is flying, so just jump. Let's jump right in. We talk about meals and we talk about nutritious meals. So that tells me there has to be a difference. What is really considered a nutritious meal? We're talking about healthy eating. So, what's that really?
All right, so that's a very good question. So, when we talk about a nutritious meal, what we're basically talking about is variety. Now, in the Caribbean, we have what is known as the Caribbean food groups. So, we have fruits, we have fats and oils, food from animals, vegetables, legumes and nuts, and staples. Hopefully, I didn't leave any out. It should be six. Um, so when we talk about nutritious foods, we're talking about meals that have a variety from all these groups. Now, the problem we have is that we've been cultured in a way that if you realize it, when you look on your plate, you will have most of it being staple, whether it's rice, dumpling, banana, dasheen, and then the other half we have the meat item, and then cut off to the side with a little vegetable. You don't want to look too bad, so you just cut a little vegetable on the side. But really and truly, we're not balancing the plate. So when we talk about a nutritious meal, we're talking about a plate that is balanced. And an easy way to look at that, which is, I mean, there are many ways, but a simple way would, let's say we divide our plate into three, and then we would have what we call our staples, our ground provisions, so your rice, your dumpling, banana, etc. Then you have your meat in another third, and then you have your vegetables on the plate. Outside of that, we should also consider having more fruits instead of having, let's say, purchasing beverages. So a nutritious meal is just another way of saying variety and using what you have within your own cabinet to provide that variety.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Rashid. So I think I'm getting a clear picture and a clear understanding that we can't just fill up the plate like how some of us do, like, perhaps Cadian with this whole heap of meat and then the little tubs of vegetable. But we try to maintain some kind of equality in portions, not too much, not too little. All right. So when we don't go the nutritious way, perhaps, and we do the other things, Like in the Caribbean, for example, when you mentioned Caribbean food groups, I was wondering, is there a difference between Caribbean and European food groups, based on our whole diet? So I wanted to know, in the Caribbean, we tend to say sugar. People have sugar, which we're talking about diabetes really. And we talk about the children not supposed to eat so much sugar, it make them hyperactive. Does this have an impact on a nutritious meal?
It does. It actually does. And when it comes to sugars and understanding sugars, I think for a long time, sugars have been given a bad name or a bad rap. Now, when we talk about sugars, sugars are what are called a type of carbohydrate, right? So we have this big group, what we call carbohydrates, and then we have what are known as sugars, we have starches, and we have fiber, right? Now, when it comes to the sugars, a key characteristic of sugars is that they have a sweet taste. Yeah. Your starches tend not to have a sweet taste. So take, for example, you bite into a slice of bread, right? Your fibers, the taste can differ, but let's say you're having, when them so when you're eating orange, you have to eat all the inside to the roughage. You realize that roughage doesn't have a sweet taste.
Yes,
So when it
man.
comes
In
to
Jamaica, we say eat the orange belly.
eat orange, so what we have are those three, yeah? Now, your body needs sugar to survive, right? It's first line of energy. So in order for you to move, think, um, to be alive, you need sugar, right? Now, the issue that we have is that we have some types of sugars that are in manufactured food, right? We call them high fructose corn syrups. Now, what they'll do is that they have a higher sweetness, right? And as human
Corn
beings, we
syrup?
love sweetness. Corn syrup,
Corn syrup. Mr.
corn
Perry, I
syrup.
want us to pause on that note. I know to break soon, but corn syrup, I see the ads on my TV, so I really want to hear on this topic. Remember, want you to share with us your healthiest dish and why you say it is healthy. Sir Perry, Kaden, and I are looking forward to what you have to say. Send your WhatsApp text and voice note. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less and send to 997-3125. Watch and comment live on our Facebook and YouTube page or give us a call in studio at 876-968-8327 or 968-8328 to participate. And just so you know, the numbers for FLM head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. We'll be back soon.
Receive words of strength from the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and is still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed and her seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. I know who has already won the war.
That's the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, brought to you by the Power of Faith Ministries International in Portmore. Voice of Power comes to you every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Speak, my Lord. Speak, my Lord.
Are you
sick and tired of not feeling well? Revitalize with Jajira Herbal Supplements. Our nutritional formulas are designed to optimize your health and provide relief from non-communicable diseases like hypertension, asthma, fibroids, sickle cell, prostate issues, and more. See real testimonials on our website. Act now. Get 30% off an executive body scan. Plus, buy 3 products and get 1 free while stocks last. Visit www.jajiraherbal.com or call 876-877-7348. Jajira Herbal, your path to wellness. Conditions apply.
I am so happy for back to school. But wow, getting back to a quiet house comes at a price, right? Flo knows how to easy work for back to school. With a $15,000 gift card to help take care of your back to school expenses and a free school bag. The books aren't going to carry themselves, right? Make back to school easier and sign up for Yard and Road. Get internet at home and mobile on the go for only $5,300 plus GCT. Flo Yard and Road makes every day better. Visit a Flo store today. Conditions apply.
Gear up the schoolers! July 15th to September 14th, Bashka's amazing back-to-school deals just for you. Buy a case of books and receive a box of pencils and pens. Don't miss special discounts on computer tables and chairs starting August 1st. That's not all! 2 lucky winners will receive a Samsung tablet or a $30,000 back-to-school shopping spree. Follow us on all socials at Bashka Jamaica for more information. Visit Bashka today and gear up the schoolers. Bashka, the store that gives you more.
Welcome back to our discussion on nourishing families, tips for healthy and happy meal times. I am your co-host, Kadian, and we were listening to Dr. Susan Perry as he spoke to us about the dangers of having too much sugar in our meals. So we'd just like you to finish up sharing on that so that we can be wise in our food preparation, so we have the right amount of sugar and carbohydrates.
All right. So the sugar that we're concerned about, especially in nutrition and food industry, is a type of sugar called corn syrup, right? You'll find it in many processed foods. You'll see corn syrup. You may see high fructose corn syrup or fructose syrup. Now, the problem we have with these sugars is that they are made to be sweeter than natural sugars, right? And the more you have, the more your liking for sugar increases. Now, when we're introducing these foods to children very early, because I know it can be difficult for parents to be preparing meals to give their children, so they'll buy these packaged meals because they're easier. So we're introducing children to these sugars very early, right? And what we're doing, we're culturing them and we're culturing the palate to getting used to these very sweet items. So over time, it increases the risk of our children developing, obesity or overweight. And in some cases, it carries on into adulthood and you have illnesses like hypertension and diabetes. So when it comes to sugars, we have to be more specific on the types of sugars, and it's these manufactured sugars which tend to have the greatest effect.
Thank you for that. That was very thought-provoking to listen to, knowing that if children have too much sugar, they can become obese. It's hard to imagine a child being obese.
But the rates are going up.
You said it carries through to adulthood. And
yes.
that's important. So, Sir Perry, I know we're in the season of doing the last back to school running up and down. School will resume in the next week or 2. How can parents, caregivers, and even for general adults going back out to work, how should we then start our day? Does it really matter? People always think sugar give energy. So boy, I'm gonna drink something sweet before I go up and do this stressful job. Is this really something we should do, or we should have greater thought process for what we consume as we start our day?
I think so. We need to have a greater thought process as to what we consume. Having a beverage, and most times it's like a box of orange juice, for example. It's nothing that has a lot of stay within, let's say, your stomach or your digestive tract. So I think what we need to do is we have to be very mindful of what we're consuming and have a full meal before you start your day, right? Just having something to drink and then moving on. What can happen is a lot of these drinks tend to be high in sugar. What happens, your blood sugar goes all the way up very fast, but just as how it increases fast, it goes down even faster. And when that sharp drop happens, hunger comes out of nowhere, and it's normally a ravenous hunger. So this goes into just ensuring that you have breakfast before heading out. It's very important, but just having something to drink. Yes, sugar is important for energy. We need it point blank. But at the same time, we need to have other foods. And it goes back to our nutritious meal. It has to be balanced. You can't just having something to drink and leave. We need to have a plate that has different food groups. So if you're going to have an egg sandwich, probably two slices of bread, egg, and if you can find piece of tomato or a little lettuce again, put in there. You can do that, but just use what you have. But don't rely on one particular food item as what you'll have to start your day.
I think you may be ruffling up some feathers. Kadian, are you a coffee drinker?
No, I'm not. I have water first thing every morning. Yes.
Well, I think the coffee drinkers with their coffee only beverage to get their day started may have to reconsider because you said something very important. I made a note of it. You may think you have energy and focus, but guess what? It's not going to be sustainable. It will leave you flat because you need something a little bit more. So, when we talk about a little extra, then I've heard persons talk about a power breakfast. Kaden, what's your power breakfast? Your go to power breakfast?
My poor breakfast normally is a protein shake or protein bar, and that really keeps me for a good 4 hours in the morning. Yeah, that's my pour up.
All right. So, Sarah Sheed, Kaden may be on, the model side. You see, she looks like a model there. And
All
so
right,
she
thank you.
goes for her power shake, but then somebody on the side
Oh, we weren't hearing you, Tamika. I think she was.
Oh, so sorry. I was saying Kadian is on the smaller frame. And so with her power breakfast, she goes for the protein shake. But she can do that. She's slim, trim, looking like a model. But I'm on the other side. And I'm thinking, I want the energy, I want the focus, but I don't know how that power breakfast is. So can you help us know how do we decide what kind of power breakfast to prepare for ourselves or the different types of people we have?
All right. So let's start from the beginning. So most of us, we grew up hearing this word breakfast, 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 and we just have it because we're told to have it. But the term breakfast means breaking the fast since your last meal. So if you did eat dinner at 7 o'clock, you didn't eat nothing else, you go to your bed, and you wake up the next morning, you have something to eat to break the body's fasting state. So that's why we have breakfast in the morning. Now, when it comes to a power breakfast, that can mean different things for different people. So if you're an athlete, if you're a child, if it's a weekend versus a weekday, it can differ, right? Now, a power breakfast pretty much is just a nice way of saying having a nutritious breakfast, and not just, let's say, relying on, and this is not going out against my coffee drinkers. I love my coffee drinkers, but not just having coffee and leaving the house, right? If you're going, if you're going to have your coffee, hopefully decaffeinated, you could have something else along with that. So it's not just that one item. So when it comes to what individual persons may need, again, that will depend on like individual characteristics. So if the person is a we say we have people who who not eat breakfast a morning time, for example, right? So they may not want something very heavy, or they'll prefer to, let's say, have a sandwich compared to other persons where they'll say, you know what, I'll have a piece of yam, I'll have a piece of dumpling with some salt mackerel, right? So it differs depending on the individual, but the important part is that when we're having breakfast, we're having other items. I would suggest, you know, a staple, your staple of choice, whether it's ground food or maybe a slice of whole wheat bread, a protein source that you like, whether that's going to be egg, sausage, whatever the case may be. And of course, you put a little vegetable in there because we're trying to balance the plate. If not, then you could also, add a fruit instead of having something to drink. You could just
I like
also
that.
have a fruit or have some water, you know. But again, that goes into culture. We've been cultured to have something sweet to drink with our meals. So if we have something sweet with it, feel like the food reach it, right? You eat it and you're like, but the food not circulate, man. We need to wash it down with something, and the water now wash it down properly.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
I get it. Thank you so much. So, Kadian, I'm not knocking you for your protein shake or protein bar, but I'm being educated as we go along. And because we're looking at a wholesome meal, we need something with it. Put something with it that could be fruits, etc. So, I mean, this is very important. I'm going to learn for the back to school season. To all our listeners, this is Family Time, and you are live on Love 101 FM. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. We are produced by the Family Life Ministries. And for our social media interaction, we want you to share with us your healthiest dish and why you say it's healthy. Let us know via WhatsApp, text, or voice note. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less, and you may send to 876 997 3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page. You can also send your comments there or on our YouTube page. Remember, you can also give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8328 to participate. We really want to hear from you.
Yes, and this evening our topic is nourishing families, tips for healthy and happy meal times. It's break time, but just before, let's get a word from Rev Mike in this episode of Word to Flesh Moments with Rev Mike. Don't go anywhere.
Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. God is concerned about both our spiritual and physical health. So it's important that we pay attention to both. The Bible contains many laws and guidelines about food. There are even Bible passages that give instructions on a very nutritious way to make bread. In Ezekiel 4:9, there's a bread recipe that results in a type of bread that has all the essential amino acids contained in protein to strengthen our human muscles. This bread will supply protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, sodium, potassium, vitamins A and C, and niacin. Plus, it tastes good. The nation of Israel were instructed what to eat and what not to eat, as recorded in the book of Leviticus. With a few exceptions, most Christians today focus as correctly as they can on the spiritual side of their development, while deliberately neglecting nutritional aspects of their physical development. This should not be so. 1 Corinthians 6 asks a simple question that should grab the attention of every serious holistic Christian. It says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Every Thursday morning, Love 101 shares with you power-packed messages, words of encouragement, and testimonies of God's miraculous power. You get all of that in the Don't Give Up broadcast, brought to you by Celebration Church at the Portmore Skating Rink in the Portmore Mall with Pastor Prophet Michael Carter. Be sure to stay tuned to Love 101 for the Don't Give Up broadcast. Get the word you need to start your day right. The Don't Give Up broadcast, Thursdays at 5:15 a.m. It's on the family station, Love 101.
Ready, set, go! Race down to Singer to get golden deals on appliances, electronics, and furniture. Be a part of the action with LG 4K Ultra High Definition televisions. Get a free microwave with the purchase of an electric stove. Stay cool with inverter ACs now at the lowest prices this summer. Get freezers starting as low as $39,995. Only Singer has 120 days for cash and 9 months no interest. Shop today for unbeatable credit. Conditions apply.
Visit Wellington Dental for all your dental needs. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our services include teeth whitening, crowns and bridges, root canal treatment, oral prophylaxis, and dental massage therapy. All major debit and credit cards are accepted. We're located at 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Call us at 876-984-5482 or send an email to well.dental@yahoo.com. Wellington Dental. Dental care at its best.
Oxymaster make everything cleaner.
The time by Oxymaster the Stain Blaster is...
Welcome back. It's now 6:05 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Our discussion this evening is nourishing families, tips for healthy and happy meal times. You may have an allergy to a particular food. If after eating it you experience itchiness, swelling of the tongue, vomiting, diarrhea, hives, trouble breathing, or low blood pressure. But this is just, my layman's way of sharing this. And as we continue on in our conversation with Dr. Seasoning, as we have called him, we want to understand what are some of the differences between food allergies and food intolerance, and how can we diagnose them, especially now as we're looking to go back to school and we live very fast-paced lives, doctor, and sometimes we may miss a few things. So how do we carefully know what to give each member of our family, especially our children, and ensure that we're giving them what is right, Over to you.
All right. So when it comes to food allergies tend to be present very early during childhood, and food allergies have to do with your body's own immune system, right? So that's the police system of the body. So anything that's foreign, that's not supposed to be there, your body has a system to remove it. But what has happened is that for certain foods, the body may recognize compounds in them that we call proteins as something foreign. Just as how if you get sick, your body notices the virus and it says, you don't need to be here, you need to leave. The body starts reacting to the protein in those foods and giving that same response. So common food allergies we have are in relation to nuts, for example. We have food allergies relating to milk, the proteins in milk. We have food allergies relating to a protein in your staples called gluten. So what you find is that these proteins, when a person has an allergic reaction, when they eat these foods, the body immediately sees it as being foreign and starts attacking it. When that happens, you end up having a rash. You may have a fever. You may have pain in the tummy, right? For some persons, it can be so severe that the airway starts to close. So when it comes to these food allergies, we have to be very, very careful and actually note some of the foods that we're eating. So if you're going to buy a packaged food or you're going to go somewhere to eat, if you have, let's say, a nut allergy, you have to check, or if your children have nut allergies, you have to check to make sure that the food item that you're buying is not made where nuts are prepared, or if you're going to a restaurant that they don't have anything with nuts being served on the menu. So again, the food allergy tends to be very, very serious compared to, let's say, a food intolerance, where intolerance is where the body doesn't have what is required to break down the food item, and it tends to pass through. And when it gets to your large intestine, the good bacteria start breaking it down, and you end up having, let's say, abdominal pain and diarrhea, right? But the food allergies tend to happen rather quickly. So once you have it, you have a reaction. The intolerance can happen quickly, but oftentimes you see it having, these persons are having, let's say, diarrhea and abdominal cramps or pain in the tummy.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Perry. And I've noticed too as well that seafood oftentimes is a challenge for persons to have. And in light of what you shared so far about nuts and dairy products, what are some alternatives that persons could have as part of their diet, especially for the children? Because sometimes we may tell our children, hey, this is what you're allergic to, but they may still go ahead and want to try it because their friends are having it. So how do we safeguard against that?
All right. So as it relates to those foods that cause allergies, the best treatment is to um, avoid any foods that have these items. So if it's a seafood allergy, and oftentimes when we say seafood, it's in reference to shellfish, so crabs, lobster, shrimp, clams, you have to avoid those food items. If they're nuts, you have to avoid nuts as well. If it's in relation to a particular nut, let's say you're only allergic to peanuts, then there are other alternatives. You have cashew, you have almonds, but I think for the most part, avoidance is what is suggested. If it's an intolerance, then there are other things that you can do. So the most common intolerance is lactose intolerance, which pretty much means that your body is not able to break down the sugar lactose. So when it gets into your large intestine, the bacteria start breaking it down. And this is where everything starts going downhill. Now, for persons who have a lactose and lactose intolerance, what they can do is that they can have what are known as milk substitutes. So you can have soy or almond. And just to be clear, the term milk is in reference to an animal source. Soy and almond are not true milks, they're more substitutes, right? So you could have those substitutes, or there are what are
Substitute.
known as, yes, or there are known as, you have other supplements, like, for example, one popular one is called Lactaid, where you can take it's like a small pill that you take that has the beneficial, what we call enzymes. These break down the sugars. So you can take one with your item of choice that has milk or lactose, and that will help as well. But the intolerance is a lot easier to deal with because you can find ways of getting around it. But when it comes to the allergies, avoidance.
Thank you so much. I've made a note of lactate. I didn't know about that. And I am hoping and trusting that the children will avoid those things, Dr. Perry, because sometimes it's just difficult. But what's a sure way, what's a good way to say, hey, stay away from this because this is what it may do for you. I'm just really concerned about that because we can't always be in the presence of our children, and you don't want to get that call from their school that this has happened. So what's a guarantee way to ensure that little Johnny little Mary doesn't have that thing that they're not supposed to have? Any tips, like a certain line or something to give them?
Sure. So there are a couple of things that we can do. Firstly, you inform family members, friends of the family. One, you inform any institution that the children go to, whether it's school or church, or any after school activities that they're participating in. And we also have to speak to children, right? I think we have a tendency of saying, don't eat this, don't eat that. But then
without
it's not a
saying why.
conversation. Right. They'll say why, right? But it's not a conversation. But what that does is that because it's not a conversation, they're more tempted to wanting to try, right? So it needs to be a conversation where they feel free enough to come and talk to you. Like they'll say, for example, Mommy, you know that John brought some nuts to school today and he was sitting beside me. It needs to be more of a conversation so they feel, free enough to speak to you whenever these things do happen. But you have to
I
tell
like
them
that.
and be mindful.
Yeah, I like that, Sir Perry, because when you say have a conversation, we're not just giving them instructions. Do this, do that, don't eat this. And then when they ask, we say, because I say so. But in educating them, we bring them into an awareness that it can be harmful to them. And we are aware of cases where there are allergens that have been fatal for children. I mean, sometimes their little bodies can be so fragile, and the effect of poison or anything that's toxic from allergens can be fatal in a quicker way for children. So I know, we are heading into our final break, and I want our listeners, remember, this is family time. We are live on Love 101, Facebook, YouTube also. And remember, Family Time is produced by the Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to share with us, what's your healthiest dish and why do you say it is healthy? Let's know by sending a WhatsApp text or voice note. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less, and you may send to 876-997-3125 or comment live on our Facebook or YouTube channel. You may also give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8328 to participate. When we get back, we want to hear from you, so don't go away. See you soon.
Receive words of strength from the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis.
The battle of seed has been declared many years ago and it's still raging. I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, thy seed and her seed. A war will be on perpetually until Jesus returns. But I know who has already won the war. I know who has already won the war.
That's the Voice of Power with Bishop Dr. Delford Davis, brought to you by the Power of Faith Ministries International in Portmore. Voice of Power comes to you every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
On how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.mlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
Peter, kill
Me need a product that can cool down your house and reduce your light bill this summer? Introducing Lanco Cool Guard Paint. Yes, Lanco Cool Guard Paint uses Thermaflex technology, a tiny insulating microsphere that expands as the outside temperature of the coating rises. This blocks heat from penetrating the surface, reducing over 80% of all that heat inside your house. Feel cooler inside this summer. Ask for Lanco Cool Guard Paint for a cooler space.
Welcome back. It is now 6:18 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by the Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune into our programs via our Love 101 Facebook page or our YouTube channel.
The topic today is Nourishing Families, Tips for Healthy and Happy Meal Times with our guest Rashid Seasoning Perry. He is a seasoned public health nutritionist, food scientist, PhD candidate in nutrition and dietetics at New York University. And as we go into our final segment, Dr. Perry, the important question now is about hydration. Oftentimes we don't have enough water, and I would just love to hear from you. How do we practically have water be more enjoyable, make it more flavorable, right, and tasteful? Because there are some persons I've met, I don't like water, I don't drink water. How can we do that? Not just for the children, but even for adults.
You know, that's
Yes.
That's a very good point. My
Yes.
mother's probably going to kill me because she's one of these repeat offenders that doesn't drink water. Mommy, forgive me. But we need to have more water in our daily activities. Now, one of the problems we have, and that goes back to what we were saying before, a lot of us have been cultured to, when we're having something to drink, water is not the first drink of choice. It's normally some kind of beverage. But then too, we've not been taught that you need to be consistently drinking water. For a lot of us, we'll wait until we're thirsty. You're like, oh, I'm thirsty, no, I'm gonna drink water. When it comes to the point of thirst, that's when your body is saying, hey, I'm dehydrated here. You need to give me water. So waiting until you're thirsty, dehydration has already started to set in. So what we want to do is to have more water. And I know for those persons who will say, you don't want the water that tastes good, it have no flavor, it's just boring, right? There are ways of having water. The most common one now is infusing. Yeah. So what infusing is basically choosing an item, let's say a fruit or a vegetable of choice, and that vegetable is then placed in the water that you're going to have. So let's say, for example, you like oranges, right? You can cut up your oranges. Some people will put the oranges directly into the water, or you can get what is known as a China cloth, which is a piece of cloth that has holes in there. So you can put the fruits in a China cloth tight and then put it inside the water. And what will happen is that the flavors of the fruit will start to infuse in the water. And that gives the water a taste, right? So whether you like oranges or you like cucumbers, some persons will add aloe vera. I mean, the list continues. Ginger. So when it comes to infusion of water, that's a very good way to get persons to drink water. But getting somebody to drink water is one thing. Drinking water consistently is the issue that we have. So for everybody, and this is something that they need to do, because water is very important for life, and especially for our kidneys that help to filter the blood, clean it, make sure it's nice and pretty. You need to have enough water, right? Don't wait until thirst is here and you're like, oh, I'm gonna drink some water. And then even when you're thirsty, you drink a little cup of water and that's it, right? That's not enough. We need to have enough water in our daily diet.
All right, thank you for that, Doc. So I noticed you didn't say buy flavored water, but infuse the fruits in your water.
Yes.
So there's a message there. So I'm guilty sometimes of the flavored water, so I need to infuse the fruits
Yes. You need to infuse the fruits
in my water.
In your water, because again, even with the flavored water, you have to be very careful because sometimes the flavorings that you're having are not necessarily what you're expecting. So, for example, and I'll keep it short for this one, strawberries, right? The strawberry flavor that we're used to is not coming from actual strawberries, right? Banana flavor is not coming from actual bananas, right? So when we're having all these quote unquote flavored items, when you read the ingredients, you realize that it's not what you think it's there. So you have to be very, very careful when having these quote unquote flavored items because I mean, the same way when we're buying a new phone, or for go through, or make sure say that phone that look good, the latest iPhone, latest Android. When it comes to food, we not do that. You just pick up something and you have it, but we have to be very mindful. So doing it at home would be the safest way. But if you're going to purchase it, try to purchase those that don't have any added sugars. When you look on the back of the label, you'll see what is known as the nutrition facts panel. And then below that, you'll see the ingredients. That's where you see like carbohydrates, the sodium. Just look on the back, just ensure it doesn't have any added sugars, but don't have it too much. Don't have it too often, every once in a while. But if you prefer infused waters, just make it at home.
Awesome. I've taken notes on that because I've been guilty. And before we have to wrap up, what are some foods though, Doc, that we could have that's gonna help us to stay hydrated apart from water? Any quick recommendations that we can add to our meal plans?
Sure. So fruits. Fruits are your best option. Your watermelons, your oranges, tangerine, mandarin, citrus fruits. You can think of vegetable juices as well, or vegetable waters. If you're not adding sugar, you could just blend vegetables together and you can use those. Cucumbers, a lot of water, you could go there as well. So you can actually utilize other aspects, other foods to be hydrated, but the easiest and the purest form is just having water.
Just having water. Awesome. And if needs be, we can have some smoothies in the mix and some shakes as well.
Of course, you can always put a smoothie in. I mean, like the same way you have your protein shakes, you can always put in your smoothie or your protein shake. That's also an option.
All right. Awesome. And before we have to, go, just in a few words, Rev. Sorry, Doc. What are some takeaway words you want our viewers to hold on to as we go to the new school year and we're living our busy lives? How do we ensure that our meals are exciting and they're fun, they're nourishing and memorable? If there's an acronym or there's something I can remember to keep it fun, what would you say to the viewers?
Keep it fun. I don't have an acronym, but as we said, keep it fun. Involve your children in meal prep. When you're cooking and they ask you questions, explain to them what you're doing. Don't run them and tell them go sit down till dinner ready. No, involve them in the process. Ensure you're having enough water. Send your children to school with water. If you can, make foods at home. Give it to them. Send them to school. Don't buy a lot of these processed foods, and keep mealtime fun. Keep food fun. Don't just tell them not to eat things, because I've been guilty as a child. I used to hide and eat the candy them, and then when my mother is washing my school bag, she's like, then wait, there's a whole sale open up. But anyways, Just
Confession food for the soul.
Yes.
confession is food for the soul. I'm sorry, mommy. But keep mealtime fun, and nutrition is not hard. It's easy. Use what you have, right? Don't go overboard. Just use what you have and just ensure you have variety. Whatever you're doing, have variety. Once you have variety in moderation, you're good to go.
Love it,
Those
that,
are
love
my
it.
takeaways, Fabian. Those are my takeaway. Keep it fun.
It
Use what
fun.
you have. Involve the children in the process and educate them. Don't just instruct them, but teach them and let them know the whys to what we say.
Well said. I love it. And thanks for being with us. Look at the time how it flew. If you have questions for a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us for more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. Contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Note that for appointments and information on costs, you must call the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with the FLM and our programs, check out our new Facebook page at FLM Family Life Ministries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram, simply FLMJA.
Before you leave today, remember, check out today's Bible verse Genesis chapter 9, verse 3. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. To all our listeners, remember, join us again next week for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Mr. Rashid Perry, and for us, Rashid Seasoning Perry. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, studio facilitator, Timoy Butler, and of course, you. On behalf of Kadian and myself, have a fantastic week. And Tamika Scott Walters, see you next time.